Welcome friends to our PharmaTour channel, and our today's topic is particle size determination. In the previous video we had discussed why we are obtaining the particle size determination, what is the requirement to obtain particle determination, and then based on that the different four methods have been listed. And in the previous video we have already discussed the two methods, that is the optical microscopy and sieving. And here now in this video we will discuss two methods, that is the sedimentation method and the Coulter current method. So first of all, starting with the sedimentation method, it is used for the particle size range for 1 to 200 micrometer. And here size is expressed mainly in the form of Stokes diameter. And what is the Stokes diameter? It describes the diameter of equivalent sphere having the same rate of sedimentation as that of the asymmetric particle. So here we are determining the sedimentation rate of asymmetric particle, and based on that we are comparing or finding out the diameter of asymmetric particle to that of the symmetric particle. And for the sedimentation method, mainly the three methods are used. First is the Anderson pipette method, second is the balance method, and third is the hydrometer. But in our syllabus we mainly deal with the Anderson pipette method, and in also as per our practical sessions or as per the trends of the nowadays. And so for the sedimentation method we are using mainly the Anderson pipette method, and physical stability of formulation also matters here. So what are the applications of this method? It helps in the formulation and the evaluation of coarse dispersions like suspension and emulsion, and it also helps in the determination of molecular weight of polymers. So before starting this method, there are some of the principles and considerations which we have to consider while using this method. So what is they? The rate of setting of particle in coarse dispersion may be obtained by Stokes law. So here what is Stokes law? Basically Stokes law is used to check the physical stability of the coarse dispersion like suspension, and then based upon the Stokes law it may be done. And the Stokes law is mainly dependent on the density difference, viscosity, distance, and these factors mainly affect the physical stability of the suspension. And here in the suspension, mainly the coarse or the insoluble solids get dissolved in the liquid or the vehicle, and so here the phase separation can be easily observed, and here the heavy particles as well as lighter particles are there. And so depending upon the condition, heavy particles settle below, and then comes the middle particle, and then at the above height the lighter particle keeps on floating. And so first condition is that the suspension must be in the dilute form. If more particles are present, then it can form aggregates which are formed, or it gets clumped together, so there is a requirement of proper deflocculating agent. So in order to prevent the aggregation or the lumps, in order to prevent the aggregation or to prevent the clogging or the clumping of the particles, we require the proper deflocculating agent which prevents the aggregation of the particles. Then the second condition is that the flow should be laminar, and here rate of sedimentation of particles must not be too rapid to create the turbulence. And so for obtaining the laminar flow, the value of Reynolds number should be less than 0.2, and any turbulent flow will affect the sedimentation of other particles, can cause error in the estimation. So mainly the preferred flow here is a laminar flow. So what is the method of this sedimentation? First of all, the Anderson apparatus is used. It mainly consists of 550 ml of cylindrical vessel and contains 10 ml pipette seal inside it. So basically a 550 ml cylinder is there, and in that inside 10 ml pipette is sealed. Then the suspension of 1 to 2% of the concentration is prepared in a suitable medium. Then in order to prevent the aggregation of the particles, a proper deflocculating agent is added. Then the above suspension is then transferred to Anderson vessel, and the stopper is placed, and then the shaking of the vessel is occur until the particles of the suspension gets uniformly distributed. Then after some times we have to remove the stopper and then place the two-way pipette and then suspend it at a constant temperature level. So after removing the stopper, we have to keep the pipette or then suspend it in a constant temperature level, and at different time interval 10 ml of the sample should be collected for checking, and then this 10 ml of sample should be collected and then kept on the wash glass for the further evaluation. So this is the diagram of the Anderson pipette. Here you can see that the first of all the pipette is there inside the cylinder, then the lower end level is there, then the upper end level, and here the 10 ml of the reservoir is there. And so here the samples which are taken for the analysis are evaporated and weighted, and the weight or the amount of particle is obtained in each interval. So when we are obtaining the 10 ml of sample, so we have to calculate it as an individual factor, and based on that the calculation is made at each and every interval, and then during each and every interval we can get the particle size, and the weight obtained are converted to cumulative weight under size, and the height of the liquid can be easily calculated by the Stokes law. So now comes the conductivity method or the Coulter counter method. Here the particle size ranging from the 0.5 to 500 micrometer can be measured. So here there is one of the biggest advantage of this method is that the particle volume can be measured, and the particle volume which is measured, it is then converted to the particle diameter, and the Coulter counter is used to measure the particle diameter or the particle volume. So here is the schematic diagram of the Coulter counter method, and so here the circuit is well set up here, and then the procedure is explained in the another slide. So what are the applications of this method? First of all, the particle growth in suspensions and solutions can be known. Dissolution of drugs in a desired medium can be known. How it also affects the rate of dissolution of drugs. And the effect of antimicrobial agents on the growth of microorganisms can also be known. So now principle as well as this procedure. So while writing the answer of this method, first of all you have to draw the diagram of this method, and then you have to explain this step by step procedure. So here particles are suspended in the conducting electrolyte. So here basically one type of electrolyte is used. Say for example NaCl, MgCl2, calcium chloride, etc. like electrolytes can be used. Then the dispersion is filled in a sample cell and the orifice is maintained. So what is the work of orifice? It mainly checks the flow, or it maintains the flow of particle, and then also maintains the contact with the external medium. Electrolytes are placed in the solution and suspensions, and a constant voltage is applied across the two electrodes. So electrolytes are mainly dispersed in the solutions or the suspensions which are used, and a constant voltage is applied across the two electrode. Any current passes and the suspended particle travels across the orifice, and it displaces the volume of electrolytes into the beaker. So whenever the current is passed through the suspended particles, it first of all checks the flow through the orifice meter, and then it displays the volume of the electrolytes used in the beaker. Due to this, change in the electrical resistance occur, and as per Ohm's law, V is equal to IR. So as the voltage changes, so the resistance also changes, and it is termed as a voltage pulse, and it determines the particle volume. So by the change in the resistance, we can easily find out the particle volume. Voltage pulse is then amplified and then fed to the pulse height analyzer. So by this voltage pulse, we can obtain the pulse height. For a given threshold value, pulses are electronically counted. For a given value, we can easily calculate the pulse. By changing the threshold setting, the number of particles of each and every size is obtained, and size distribution is obtained. So here the biggest merit of this method is that by changing the threshold setting, we can find out the size of each and every individual particle. It is also called stream scanning, and the suspension of particle passing through a sensing zone in which individual particles are counted as well as tabulated. So it is mainly used in the coarse or the solid dosage forms like tablets, capsule, where the particles are to be granulated, then the compression and then the tabulation is done. So what are the advantages of this method? Approximately 4000 particles per second can be counted. So this is the fast and the rapid method where we can obtain the particle size of each and every particles, and therefore size analysis can be completely in a relatively short period of time. What are the disadvantages of this method? It is unsuitable for polar and highly water soluble materials due to solvation. So as you know, like dissolves like. So whenever the polar solute is dissolved in the polar solvent, then the problem of solvation takes place. So it is unsuitable for polar methods or the polar solvents or polar solutes. And in such case, if non-solvent is used to suspend particles, it may not produce adequate conductance. So for obtaining the conductance, we require some of the polar solvent. But if a non-polar solvent is used or the non-solvent is used, then it may not be able to produce the conductance. So this is one of the biggest disadvantage of this particle. So here mainly the organic solvent can't be used.